playful, energetic, magnetic, and then something happened. Maybe it was rejection. Maybe it was criticism. Maybe it was trauma. Maybe somebody embarrassed you publicly. Maybe you stopped trusting yourself. Maybe life got heavy. Maybe survival became louder than creativity. But somewhere along the way, many people lost access to their voice. And today, we're not just talking about singing, we're talking about expression, identity, confidence, visibility, nervous system safety, and the courage to take up space again. I need everyone listening to understand something immediately. There are millions of adults walking around carrying creative grief. People mourn relationships. People mourn careers. But people rarely talk about mourning the version of themselves that used to be free. I'll say that one more time. Thank you for sharing on TikTok. People mourn relationships. People mourn careers. But people rarely talk about mourning a version of themselves that used to be free. Let's talk about now what rejection does to performers and individuals psychologically. Rejection does not simply disappoint performers, it rewires them. And when performers experience repeated rejection, the nervous system starts associating visibility with danger. Auditions, criticism, social media comparison, being ignored, being laughed at, being overlooked, being told you're too much, too emotional, too loud, too ambitious, too different. Eventually, the brain says, maybe safety exists in hiding. And many creatives slowly begin shrinking themselves to survive emotionally. Some people stop posting. Some people stop auditioning. Some stop singing around others. Some stop writing. Some stop creating entirely. And the tragedy is this: most people do not lose talent, they lose safety. What moment made you start questioning your voice? Hi, Pam. What moment made you start questioning your voice? Is there a particular time in your life where you stopped posting, stopped auditioning, stopped singing around others, stopped writing, stopped creating? What moment made you stop? What moment made you start questioning your voice? Let's talk about losing confidence now after criticism. One harsh sentence can echo in a performer's mind for 20 years. Some people can still remember that exact teacher, that exact parent, that exact director, that exact church member, that exact comment section. And creative people are deeply sensitive because art requires openness. And when openness gets attacked, many people build emotional armor. But armor also blocks creativity. You cannot fully create while you're fully guarded. This is why many technically talented people often seem emotionally frozen. Criticism can become internalized identity. I am bad. I am embarrassing. I am not enough. I should stop trying. And eventually, the inner critic starts speaking with the voice of past rejection. This is why healing confidence is not just about skill building, it's about identity rebuilding. Let's move forward and talk about recovering after creative disappointment. Creative disappointment hits differently because creativity is deeply personal. A failed audition can feel like personal rejection. A failed launch can feel humiliating. A bad performance can make someone disappear for years. The disappointment is not proof that you are incapable. It is proof that you cared. The greatest performers in the world have public failures attached to their stories. The difference is not that they avoided disappointment, the difference is that they learned how to recover. Recovery is a skill. And one of the biggest lies performers believe is this: if I were truly gifted, this would not hurt. No, gifted people hurt deeply too. But healing creatives learn how to keep moving without abandoning themselves. Let's move forward now and talk about why many adults stop singing or performing. Many adults did not consciously quit performing. They slowly disconnected from themselves. Responsibilities increased, bills increased, trauma increased, embarrassment increased, and fear increased. And creativity became treated like a luxury instead of a lifeline. But singing is ancient, expression is ancient, storytelling is ancient. And many people stopped performing because adulthood punished vulnerability. And eventually they started saying things like, I'm too old now. I missed my chance. I'm rusty. I don't sound good anymore. But often, what they truly mean is, I no longer feel safe expressing myself. And here's the good news today: safety can be rebuilt. Let's move forward and talk now about the inner critic and creative paralysis. The inner critic is one of the greatest dream killers on earth. It convinces people to rehearse failure before they even begin. What if I embarrass myself? What if nobody cares? What if I fail publicly? What if I'm not talented enough? And so many people overthink instead of create. Perfectionism is often fear wearing professional clothing. Many people say that they are waiting until they are ready, but readiness is often built through action, not before it. The inner critic thrives in isolation. This is why supportive environments matter. Isolation magnifies shame. Community interrupts shame. Let's talk now about one of my favorite topics: reclaiming playfulness and freedom. Some of the most powerful healing happens when performers reconnect with play. Children sing way before they are skilled. Children dance before they are polished. Children create before they are validated. But adulthood conditions cause people to perform only when perfection is guaranteed. And creativity suffocates under constant monitoring. Playfulness is not serious. Playfulness is psychologically restorative. When singers laugh again, experiment again, improvise again, risk again, something starts opening emotionally. Freedom returns. And often the breakthrough people need is not more punishment, it is permission. Something in my neighborhood is on fire. I can smell the burning and I can hear the sirens. It's just not coming from inside our house. I hope everybody's okay. What would your creativity look like if fear was not controlling it? What would your creativity look like if fear was not controlling it? Let's talk now about healing the fear of failure. Failure becomes terrifying when identity becomes attached to outcomes. But your worth and my worth cannot depend on applause. Because let me tell you something, applause is unstable. I'm going to read this again. Failure becomes terrifying when identity becomes attached to outcomes. But your worth cannot depend on applause because applause is unstable. Algorithms change, audiences change, industries change, but grounded performers learn something powerful. My value exists before the outcome. Say that with me. My value exists before the outcome. And ironically, performers become stronger once failure no longer destroys their identity. You become more courageous, more experimental, more authentic. Fear loses power when shame loses power. Let's talk now about the connection between voice and identity. The voice is deeply connected to identity. This is why people cry while singing. This is why public speaking terrifies people. And this is why being silenced hurts. When people lose confidence in their voice, they often lose confidence in themselves. But rebuilding the voice often rebuilds the person. Confidence is not simply sounding better. Confidence is trusting yourself again. Many people do not need another critic. They need reconnection. And this includes reconnection to the voice. Now let's talk about how supportive mentorship changes outcomes. One supportive mentor can radically change someone's trajectory. Not because mentors magically remove difficulty, but because they help people stop abandoning themselves. A good mentor helps people regulate emotionally. They also help people to see clearly, take action consistently, develop skills safely, process fear honestly. And this is why community and mentorship matters so much. Many talented people fail simply because they tried to heal all alone. And isolation distorts perspective. Support accelerates recovery. Now we got to my final talking point. Starting over without shame. There's no shame in beginning again. There's no shame in beginning again. You are allowed to return to your voice, return to your dream, return to your artistry, return to your confidence. You are not behind. Some people needed time to survive before they could finally create safely. And survival is not failure. The goal is not becoming who you were before pain. The goal is becoming someone even more grounded, more self-aware, more expressive and free after the pain. Your voice, beloveds, it still matters. And this is exactly why I do the work that I do. Every day I work with performers, singers, speakers, creatives, leaders, and human beings who are trying to reconnect with their voice again. Not just technically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, professionally. And if you're realizing today that fear, rejection, criticism, trauma, and self-doubt have all been shaping your creative life, you do not have to navigate any of that alone anymore. I offer private coaching, vocal mentorship, performance development, confidence rebranding and support, visibility coaching, creative recovery work, and long-term academy mentorship containers for people serious about reclaiming their voice and their expression. None of this is about becoming perfect, including this masterclass, which is going to be replayed on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the magazine, and beyond. None of this is about becoming perfect. It is about becoming honest, powerful, grounded, and free again. And if you're ready for deeper support, reach out today. Message me the word voice on any of the platforms where you're hearing me, or you can send me a text message through the websites, through the link in bios. Just message me the word voice, because your next chapter may begin with one honest conversation. And for everyone listening today, I hope you remember this. Your voice did not disappear. It adapted to survive. Now may be the time to help it live again. I'll see you soon.